What's going on, guys? Welcome to my first video in a while. I haven't done this in a while. Big reason is that, honestly, I got really busy with the holidays coming up with family. Then I got sick and I wasn't able to talk for a while, and I haven't been able to do much since. Thankfully, I am available once again. But don't be fooled by the Broncos stuff. This is just a football-related gear. You obviously know what we're here to talk about. The 2021 NFL season is over. We're going to the playoffs now. Teams are going on. We're going to get evaluations of certain things. But one thing a lot of teams are looking forward to now, one thing teams do after the year, evaluate their quarterbacks. Let's see how they did throughout the year. Maybe they were good. Maybe they were bad. They want to evaluate their young guys, see what steps did they take in progression. Maybe we did the right things, maybe we did the wrong things. Some things we need to improve, some things that we need to address. In particular, this quarterback class. There have been a lot of hyped up quarterback classes that at least I can remember through the draft. One that immediately comes to mind is, of course, the 2018 draft that had Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen. You can even go back to, say, the 2020 draft that had Burrow, Herbert, and Tua. Burrow, a Heisman winner himself. Tua, a national champion and a Heisman candidate. Justin Herbert, just extremely gifted. It's hard not to think of big quarterback classes, but there are only 3 classes that I can think of when it comes to 5 first-round quarterbacks. All of them hype beyond belief. The 1983 draft, John Elway, Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, Todd Blackledge, and Tony Eason. Oh, and Ken O'Brien. So make that 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round. 6. Like I just mentioned, the 18 draft, and then most recently, this draft. Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Justin Fields. Even had some kind of buzz around some of the second-round quarterbacks taken, like Kellen Mond and Davis Mills. But we're going to specifically talk about the first-round quarterbacks, though I do think I want to do a video on Davis Mills eventually. He's interesting to me. It's time to look at what I think has to be one of the most disappointing classes in recent memory. It's unbelievable. And I'm not going to try to say that they're all busts, that they're all, doomed for eternity, that, this is it, this is the trajectory of the careers. No. But one cannot deny that this 2021 class has been very underwhelming for both reasons beyond the quarterback's control and reasons within their control. So, let's get into this. Let's talk about the 2021 class, and we'll start with Trevor Lawrence. As the first overall pick in this year's draft, Lawrence was seen as the can't-miss prospect. He was put in the hype prospect tier with guys like John Elway, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck. Guys that are seen as like you can't mess with them. Like you take them out the box, they're ready to go. You put them in day one, they'll be your starter and will take off running. People tend to forget, though, those quarterbacks, say, for Andrew Luck, had some pretty rough goes, especially Elway and Manning. Elway was constantly in and out of the lineup. He was flipped constantly, and what he did show, he wasn't exactly too impressive. He had a lot of young rookie mistakes, but he did have his flashing moment, like when he had that comeback drive down 19-0 in the fourth quarter, and he had the comeback drive with 3 touchdowns against Indianapolis. And then Peyton Manning went 3-13 his first year, and he set the rookie record for most interceptions ever with 28 picks, and a rookie's yet to break it. So Trevor Lawrence. Oh boy. Now let me preface it by saying this. This is not all on Trevor Lawrence. He is in my opinion, a very bad situation. The Urban Meyer experiment was just an absolute disaster. He was clearly not an NFL head coach, wasn't good enough to be a head coach, and the Jacksonville locker room fell apart. Lawrence, unfortunately, made a lot of rookie mistakes that they didn't appear ready to help him with. He threw a lot of bad interceptions. His timing was bad on some of the routes. Anticipation throws were off. His accuracy would be very wild at times. Sometimes he tried to make a college-style play, which doesn't work in the NFL. Lawrence appears to have a long way to go, and maybe his trajectory is going to be, if we're putting him still in that hype tier, like an Elway or a Manning. Like, it's gonna take a year or two to get things rolling. Because, hey, Peyton Manning, like I said, he came in, the Colts were 3-13. When he finished, they were 3-13 with his rookie season. Trevor Lawrence goes to a Jags team that won 2 games all year, and they get the first overall pick. This year they won 3 games, but they still get the first overall pick. Still lost 14, though. Still lost 14 games. So Lawrence, we need to see more, and I hope Jacksonville genuinely puts in the effort, but I don't trust them. This might be an unfortunate situation where Lawrence might have to go somewhere else. It might be odd to project that early, but look what Jacksonville has. Trent Baalke is proving to not be the best general manager, as he's neglected the entire offensive line, and that's a huge reason that the offense suffered. Lawrence lacks legitimate playmakers around him, which he's going to need to bail out some of those mistakes. Like, he needs a DeAndre Hopkins. He needs one of those receivers with a fantastic catch radius that can make up for some of the throws he makes that are a little bit off. And I don't know if Jacksonville's going to find one in this draft, maybe in free agency, maybe a trade, but they owe it to Lawrence, and Lawrence needs to get better because Jacksonville cannot afford to botch this one. Let's move to the number 2 overall pick, Zach Wilson. Oh boy. Now, I will say this as a Denver fan, okay? And I'm not trying to be mean here, okay? When Wilson had his flashes, you could see the talent there. It's like, okay, this is why he's the number 2 overall pick. And I will say in his last few games, I saw some strides. I saw him making a few plays. And I saw some passes he made. I'm like, okay, it's there. The talent is there. There is something for the Jets to build on. And honestly, if they invest enough, they could get something out of Wilson. But that said, and again, I'm not trying to be mean, but as a Denver fan, I saw too much of it. When Wilson was bad, it reminded me of the worst of Drew Lock. Very inaccurate throws, playing way too much hero ball, scrambling too much, trying to make plays that he also should just probably eat the incompletion. He would be very happy feet in the pocket, and he would get skittish. Now, granted for the Wilson, I'll give him this. Their offensive line was decimated this year. They lost Mekhi Becton to a season-ending injury week 1 of the season. He'll be coming back, and that's definitely going to help because Mekhi Becton is a rock on that line. They still need more, though. Elijah Vera Tucker shows promise, though he'll need more time to get going, but that should be a priority for the Jets this year. Upgrade their run game and invest in that offensive line. Give Wilson a better pocket, because when the pocket breaks down, he breaks down. That's to be expected of a rookie, but the flashes we saw I don't think are enough to justify some of those bad mistakes he makes. I saw improvements, but man did it hurt. I think that Wilson has a long ways to go, and the Jets are going to have to willing to bear some growing pains over the next year. I think 2022 will be a better year for Wilson, but it might still be a tough year, and I think the Jets are just going to have to be willing to embrace it's going to be a long rebuild. The third one's weird to me. Trey Lance, taken 3rd overall by the Niners. So when San Francisco traded that ransom to move up, when they traded that haul of picks they traded that haul of picks, we knew they were picking a QB. Question is, which one? And a lot of people speculated Trey Lance or Mac Jones. Lance was a weird outlier to me because of all the quarterbacks in the class, he was the one I was wary of. He had very little playing experience, only 28 games total under his belt. He really hadn't been a starter that long. He was very raw in terms of a player, very gifted. Good mobility, pretty good arm, a talented kid, no doubt. And I can see why people hyped him up, but I don't know why he was exactly put on the board over a guy like Justin Fields or even in hindsight, even now Mac Jones. I was wary of Trey Lance, and there was rumors that the Denver wanted him, but that's beside the point. When San Francisco took him, I thought this is the best place to develop a rookie quarterback in his particular scenario. You get a coach like Kyle Shanahan who knows offense, who knows how to mold quarterbacks. You got a coach like Kyle Shanahan who knows how to incorporate Lance into his system. He wouldn't have taken Lance if he didn't think he could do it. That said, though, I think this is less on Lance and more on the Niners. They played a weird game of hot potato between him and Jimmy Garoppolo, with Garoppolo kind of being treated as the de facto starter, but everyone, including myself, just waiting for them to put in Lance. And it was weird because when Lance was in, he showed flashes, but also very raw. Like, I can see why in some places they started Jimmy. Trey clearly was still not ready yet. He needed some time cooking in the oven, and it is very clear that San Francisco has a plan set. Now, they have made the playoffs with Jimmy as the starter, and he'll probably be the starter going in. And with Lance having some health issues, that's also a little bit of a concern. What do you do next year? Do you trade Jimmy for some good value? You can't not play Lance. You traded that ransom to get him. You have to play him. The Niners find themselves in a weird quandary. What I have seen from Trey, I'll say this. Talent's there. He's going to need time, though. And I don't know how much time San Francisco has, though. Lynch and Shanahan definitely have bought themselves some time, and this playoff berth recently helps. But how long are they going to give themselves to develop Trey Lance? That's the question to be answered. And now let's talk about the quarterback that I really did not feel I felt was probably going to the worst situation, in my opinion. And now, granted, that's been completely destroyed with Jacksonville, but at the time of the draft, I just thought, oh, this isn't going to work. Justin Fields in Chicago. Boy. Some Bears fans will think I'm salty because Broncos didn't draft him. I did not want us to draft him. If you looked at our coaching situation, it's a good thing we didn't. But not that the Bears were much better. Matt Nagy has proven himself to be not a very good head coach. His offensive game plans were terrible. He really neglected their run game despite it being the strength of their offense. They had weapons in the receiving corps that were never really utilized. No wonder Allen Robinson wanted out. And Justin Fields, yikes. There would be some games where he would show some brilliant flashes. He'd run the ball, move around with his legs, he'd throw the ball around pretty well, and we could see it. But then he'd immediately follow it up with a fumble or a pick or a boneheaded decision like scrambling in the pocket, only to lose yards on a big sack that he didn't have to take. It's clear that Fields needs a lot of time. He is going to need some molding. He is going to need a lot of time to prepare. And Matt Nagy clearly was not the coach to bring him along. I'm weary of drafting rookie quarterbacks with coaches that are on their last leg because the coach will risk rushing their growth just so they can save their job, or maybe the coach will favor the veteran, even though the veteran maybe isn't the best option. They'll favor him because they trust him more than the rookie just so they can save their jobs. We just saw that recently with Vic Fangio in Denver. But it is clear that Chicago is struggling with Justin Fields, and Justin Fields has a ways to go. He needs to improve on some of his decision-making. He's got to know when to just chuck it away and eat an incompletion. His decision-making needs to improve, though I expect that it'll get better with time. His anticipation needs to be better. It is clear that Fields is talented, but like a lot of quarterbacks I've listed, there's something that's not there yet. Chicago owes it with their next head coach. They're getting a new head coach. They owe it to get Justin Fields either a quality offensive-minded head coach or a really good OC and quarterback coach that know how to work with him. It is also evidently clear that Ryan Pace being booted out after many bad decisions. I think he got fired a little too late. Same with Matt Nagy. But Ryan Pace is gone now, so now the entire system that drafted Fields is no longer there. So I don't know if the leash goes a little shorter for him, but I would think that this new GM will do what he can to invest in Justin Fields. He's going to have to impress the new brass, whatever they do. I would start with fixing that offensive line because it is absolutely atrocious. I would fix that. I would start adding depth to wide receiver and maybe address some of the losses on defense due to the cap. I would address that in the draft. That's just me, though. And then finally we land with the outlier. Mac Jones? Who had him for Offensive Rookie of the Year? I mean, here's the thing. I saw a lot of people saying, oh, Zach Wilson can win Rookie of the Year. I mean, I had that as a bold prediction because I thought Wilson was going to be great with the Jets. Boy, was I wrong on that. I thought Lawrence could win Rookie of the Year. That did not happen at all. Fields, not going to happen. Trey Lance, maybe if he played the whole year and he got better, possibly, but we don't know that yet. But Mac Jones is surprisingly the best quarterback of the class. And I do not believe, despite what some hot take pundits will say, it's because everyone else is stupid. Mac Jones should have been taken first. Not Lawrence, not Wilson, not Fields, not Lance, none of them. It should have been Mac. I thought Mac Jones was kind of a hit or miss prospect. He'd only started one full season. Now, it was a very good season, but it's only 1 year. He also had his limitations in terms of a physical ability, doesn't have the strongest arm, but he's an accurate quarterback. I thought he would need to land in a place with an offense that's suited for him. I don't think he's just the kind of quarterback that you kind of just plug in any system and he'll floor it. Like, I guarantee you put him in Chicago, put him in Jacksonville, put him in the Jets, oh boy, it'd be a rough ride for him. But let's be honest. When he went to New England, we all thought that was a perfect fit. I had him going to the Patriots because I thought you can't find a perfect fit. He's exactly what McDaniels likes in a quarterback. He can run the offense that McDaniels likes, and he can work with Belichick likes working with quarterbacks like him. He's quiet. He's not that loud. He's pretty reserved. He's a fun-loving kid, but he's not like loud and boisterous. Perfect for New England, and he's fit in perfectly. I would not be surprised if he won Rookie of the Year, though Jamar Chase has something to say about that. And trust me, yes, Bengals. I will talk about the Bengals later. But, man, the Patriots got a steal with Mac Jones, but I don't think it's because the other organizations passed. I think it's that Mac Jones is the perfect fit for the Patriots. I don't know how he'd fit on these other teams. Maybe he'd be better, maybe he'd be 1,000 times worse. I think he'd be pretty bad in Jacksonville just because I don't think they're really built to develop a quarterback. I think Jones is in the perfect place with the Patriots, and I can't think of a better place for him. And I think Belichick has his next franchise guy. Don't be shocked if at some point, hell, maybe even this year they win a Super Bowl, just like they did with rookie Brady coming out of nowhere. Starting Mac Jones from week 1, and he's gotten better as the year goes along. Mac doesn't have to be spectacular. They don't need him to be. They got Damian Harris running the ball like crazy. Mac fits perfectly with their offense. So if you're a team that passed on Mac Jones, I wouldn't kick yourself for that. You got a talented quarterback. It's just that Mac Jones is in the perfect place at the right time. I don't know if Mac Jones would flourish in Detroit. I don't know how he'd be doing if he was, saying, New York or Philly. I don't know. Maybe Jalen Hurts fits okay in Philly. I got to talk about the Eagles too. But, man, talking about a good fit, I'm not bad about Mac Jones as anybody who passed on him. I think he just landed in the perfect place. So yeah, all in all, I say so far this big hyped up class is a bit underwhelming. Only one quarterback I can say right now is a legitimate starter. Everybody else, I'm either seeing too many bad flashes to not that counter their good, or I just haven't seen enough in Lance's case. Lawrence and Fields are getting new head coaches. Wilson and Lance are staying put, but more likely than not, Lance is probably the starter next year in San Fran. Mac Jones is in the best situation possible because he's in a great, stable organization. He'll have the same coaching staff for a good while at this point. And same for Trey Lance, if he can develop. Lawrence, God, I hope if Jacksonville hires Bill O'Brien, if Jacksonville hires Bill O'Brien, I have no idea what they're going to do. And who knows what the Bears will do. Maybe they go out and hire a coach that gets a really good OC and a really good quarterback coach. Or they go back to the offensive well and they get an offensive guy who knows how to work with a young quarterback. Either way, 2022 is going to be crucial for this quarterback class because then we're going to find out if this might be one of the most disappointing quarterback classes, honestly, in a long time. Because if we only have right now that we can say everyone was hyping these guys up as all potential rookies of the year. I saw a lot of people saying, man, we might have 5 good quarterbacks instead of we all have that phrase, one of them is going to be bad. One of them will inevitably bust. So far, we have only one guy who we can say right now is a legitimate starter. And he's the guy everyone thought would be a bust. So that's just the volatility of the draft. But I'm not declaring these quarterbacks busts yet. Just so far, a little disappointing. And which is why I'm going to tell people, don't judge this upcoming class too harshly. Pickett, Corral, Willis, Strong, Howell, Who the frick knows what's going to happen? We all thought this quarterback class was going to be a home run. So far, not so much. Maybe this class has a few surprises for us. Maybe they have 2 or 3 legitimate starters. Maybe they're all bad. Who the frick knows? It's different every year. I think this year has showed us more than anything that football is extremely unpredictable. The draft is unpredictable. And we shouldn't even bother trying to predict it. It's fun, but we're all pretty bad at it. That's just it for me, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What did you think of this rookie class through their first year? Did you find them disappointing like I did? Maybe you think differently than I do. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I got a few NFL teams I want to make videos on. And I have other sports I want to talk about, yes, but the NFL is a big thing right now, and I have a few teams I want to talk about, particularly the Bengals and the Eagles. They're coming up soon. Anyways, that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys later.